trying my best. I'm trying my hardest. Milos isn't here right now. You're making it tough. All right, let's see if maps are ready, as we have a little bit of an idea of the statistics we might be hitting. There! We have a success story. And it's an Oregon story, though.
Ooh, let's have a look at this. Wow, okay. Oregon. Oh lordy Jesus, it's a fire.
Jess is triggered. That's it. She's gone.
So, could you expand upon the point? I think that's what a host is supposed to say.
You're hitting it, the nail on the head there. Look,
carry on, Jess. Talk to us about this fire. What color is it? What does it look like?
Is it a big fire?
It's a burning fire for both teams. It's actually
Do we need to call the fire service?
Burning fire, yes. And not for me, but for Scarz probably, because for the most part, they both have a 33% win rate between stage 1 and now in all of the games that play competitive, whether it's national leagues as well as, APAC North. Biggest thing is that Scarz has played it 6 times and they've only won it twice. And that's why we get that 33% win rate. You look at Electrify, they've played it half the amount of times. And so the less sample size makes me think that maybe either Electrify don't like it as much, but they did lose to Xavier and Norengo, which is not a bad loss to have on it. And on the flip side, I mean, Scarz lost it to who? Xavier, Cyclops, Cloud9, and Talon, but they also beat Talon on it once as well. So, don't know.
Who knows? Des, give me a last word before I throw us over to the casters and take us out this perpetual hell of me hosting.
I'm hopeful for Scarz today. Admittedly, with the change coming in, they've built really good foundations with Coldblow and Nosferatu. I'm hoping they can do big for them today, but let's not count out the other side. Electrify could be electrifying.
That's it. Let's throw it over to the wonderful duo. We'll see you on the desk. We'll see you after this, maybe. Who knows at this rate? Thank you for being here at this trying time.
I feel sorry for Fluke. I really, really do. But is your mic back?
It's cool. I had to unplug and replug in my mic a bunch because it was playing up. Yes. So apparently it just didn't even want to do anything this time. But let's get into the game, should we, Dev? I think that sounds.
Yeah, I'm keen.
Sounds pretty good.
This is a rematch. This is a big rematch in my mind. This rematch V3, Scarz versus Electrify. The opening game for these teams in APAC North League was against each other. Electrify managed to cop the upset, reverse sweep over Scarz, who then eventually got their revenge later in stage 1. Currently, the head-to-head score is 1 apiece, so I don't know who's going to take it this time. The social vote is very split.
Yeah, actually, I was just thinking that. I'm not sure we've seen a direct 50-50, or at least if we have, it's been incredibly rare. Says a lot about how close these two teams are, but you could argue that Scarz have been getting better of late, and Electrify haven't been doing much to climb up the standings, but obviously bringing back in Revy to replace Canos, that leaves a lot of questions left unanswered for Scarz and about how they could perform in this game. But obviously, let's kick things off with the ban phase and see what it is they're going to be preventing from being played today.
Thatcher, alright, Electrify, just going for the standard kind of stuff. It's what they banned against Talon when they played Oregon last time. Also what they banned against Velocity 9 in their local national league. It's a common ban for them on the map, as it is for Scarz. So Scarz kind of get the control here. Their normal ban has been taken out. They get to change things up. The only other thing that they've ever banned on Oregon was Montaigne, but I don't think they should ban that because it is a good operator for them. However, a Ying ban against Electrify is a smart move. We've seen some great Ying plays from Electrify. In fact, it was instrumental in their victory over Talon just last week on this very map. So good stuff there from Scarz. We might follow up a typical one for Scarz. Typical one in the meta right now makes the destroying those bulletproof gadgets much easier, a bit less to protect them. And I want to see the clash ban here from Electrify. It's what they did against Talon, and also knowing Scarz with Revy on the table. Revy is a player that feels much more comfortable on shields rather than with a gun in their hands, so I'd like to see that. Am I going to be right? Let it rah, let it rah. Clash bans, good stuff.
I think that obviously is a really big thing that they have to be very cognizant of now, is the fact that because Revy is back on the Scarz roster, we've spoken about it before and we've kind of memed about it before because obviously he is their coach, he's not a player, and Scarz struggled not having an actual player take his place, take that spot on the roster. So really he had to revert to playing a lot of shield operators. So removing that from Scarz's arsenal, I suppose you could say, is really going to help push Electrify forward.
Good decision there. Or the Monty 6-picked onto from Scarz. Funnily enough, it's not actually Revy to take up that mantle. It is Coldbro. Now, we have seen Coldbro... actually, I'm having a look right now. Coldbro is typically... Last time, I'm looking at the Talon game that Scarz played on this very map. Coldbro was actually that hard breach player primarily. Also, a bit of Carly as well. In fact, both Coldbro and Nosferatu were kind of jumping around those roles. Of course, Carly maybe not as impactful here when the Maverick is unbanned. But funnily enough, Scarz are electing to bring neither. But it shouldn't be so much of a problem since there is absolutely zilch in terms of wall denial on the Electrify side. So, hey, it works. And the Scarz have got plenty of util to deal with everything that Electrify has got. And on top of that, they've got that Monty.
Very true. And I think, you know, you mentioned they don't have wall denial. Obviously, there's no mute, no bandit, Kaid, insert wall denial operator here. But one thing they have bought is mirror. And it's often a point of discussion when we're talking about what teams decide to bring on this site particularly, especially when she doesn't make it through the ban phase, because some teams decide they're not going to bring her, but she can be so strong. Obviously, you see where she's placing that black mirror facing into laundry. That obviously prevents a push coming down the laundry stairs. And teams who can't coordinate well to get rid of the mirror really struggle to push past areas like the construction doorway into blue if they're receiving so much fire from behind it. And obviously, the Scarz haven't brought a Hibana, so they can't just directly get rid of the mirror. They don't have a Twitch. They can't use a Twitch drone to get rid of that, so they're going to have to go about it a different way.
I'm having a look over at last time Electrify played this map. No, that is the wrong map, so that one is not relevant. I'll have a look later once I got some more time to bring up that spreadsheet. But, you know, since I've got my spreadsheets up, we'll talk about Scarz. When they played Talon, they won 7-4 on this map. Their attacks were actually pretty good. They started really slow. They lost 3 in a row. And then they won 3 attacks in a row, 1 on each kitchen, dining, dorms, and laundry supply. They didn't even bring the Monty for any of those. And also they were playing against Mirror for a lot of those defenses as well. So I am fairly confident here in Scarz as they shape up for this blue bunker take. So much util on the attacking side to dispatch with these Vulcan shields and other deployable shields that Electrify have brought to the table. So I'm fairly confident that this should be a strong attack.
And you've got Ray still present in Pillar, and he's that player who the desk were talking about as having so much strength and prowess on this roster. Straight away, the box wall's going to be opened by the Selmas, but with Ray still present behind that shield, he could get that line of sight, just like Sino has right now, sending in the smoke to force the Monty back as he tries to take some shots in with the SMG-11. He's just getting prepared with a second.
Second one goes fourth, and oh, that's a nice long shot from Pikachu there. 11, that key player who's been stepping up hugely in the fragging department for Scarz. Taken down now. Coldbro, how aggressive will he get here? He allows his teammate to get taken down and almost taken down himself. Really struggling. Ray goes crazy. Demic to try to pick up the pieces. Revy actually finds a kill, and now he is the only player remaining in a 1 versus 1, no less, with so much time still on the table.
Up against Triple Lift, but he's going to go straight in for the plant, and Triple Lift is actually some decent way away on the tower stairs, so it could be that Revy does land this plant, and that's exactly what happens. Now, in that 1 versus 1 post-plant situation, and the cards are in Revy's hand, Triple Lift, he's got to creep on by, seeking out the diffuser, but doesn't know where his opponent is, and he can't win the 1v1. A great start from Scarz, playing once again with their head coach as they take the first round.
All right, I think I've given Revy a bit of a hard time here. Everything I've ever said, please forgive me. I take it all back. Revy, you are a god. 2 kills, plant, 1v1 clutch. That's everything I ever wanted from you, and you've delivered.
Thanks, Space Revy. Maybe it turned out he wasn't the problem.
3 kills! My goodness! This is insane. Okay, to reinforce why we're, you know, so surprised here, let's just remind you, Revy, he was the worst performing player in the entire of APAC North Division in Stage 1. 0.6 rating overall. You know, did not have a good time. Negative 42 KD. -9 opening KD, 20% survival rate. Only survived 20% of the rounds that they played. The only redeeming factor is he managed to plant 6 times, but 6 is not that many if you think about how many rounds he played in total. So, Revy, you know, not great. Not great in Stage 1. Let's be honest. So, stepping up here, not playing the Monsi, back on the AK. Let's go. No Thermite. Upgraded to the Ace. That's exactly what Revy needed. And, well, great way to say, hey, I'm here to stay. Yeah, Canos, going off to go for military service. I'm here and I'm going to hold my own.
I think I would like to see the mid-round get cleaned up a bit. What happened, obviously, last time was a big kerfuffle as we saw Coldbro push up onto Ray in Pillar. And I think part of it is, you know, he was obviously trying to get rid of the Vulcan shield. We saw him try to take the shot and it failed. But he also tried to push Ray out of the protection of the ADS, which was behind him. But what ended up happening was they just kind of did a dance around the middle pillar, and there were you know, fights going on around them, and it was a bit messy. I think if Ray can take advantage of the box wall being opened once again and get a shot through there, unlike what happened last time, then maybe Electrify will have some earlier control, or at least be able to maintain their control for a longer period of time in this round.
Let's see if Scarz can repeat the feat, though. It's very much a similar take here. Electrify a bit more aggressive. Pikachu actually playing with a C4 prepared, waiting for the call from his teammates. Kill here onto the Monty would be hyper impactful, but he has to make sure that that C4 lands behind the shield. Otherwise, that extended shield will protect Coldbro from taking damage. The Ace, Selma goes forth and deals with that electrical wall. Pikachu still with that C4 prep, just waiting for the call from his teammate. If the Monty goes forth a little bit too much. But Electrify very much tunnel visioning here with 3 players facing blue side. Makes me wonder maybe there's a weakness that Scarz can exploit elsewhere.
It looks like that's what Scarz are going for as they place their drones. And you've got Nosferatu up the tower stairs ready for that. Coldbro obviously can't move forward too much because you've got Ed who is looking after the shield on the blue door, and you obviously have Pikachu over in elbow. So if he turns one way or another, he is vulnerable to one of those directions. There's that first shield will be dispatched with a smoke following up as well. So that allows those players to have some space to get away. As the C4 won't catch anybody out as the Monty moves on forward. Ed is just ready and waiting for this player who comes down tower stairs, but it will be Ray who gets the first kill. There's a nade, but it gets caught out, as does the Monty. This could be disastrous, but 2 players coming down the stairs ensure that that player from Electrify is gotten rid of. Now just Nosferatu is standing. More kills came in for Electrify, and he finds himself alone on the tower stairs, and the likelihood is Electrify know exactly where he is. You can tell that just by the angles that are being held. It's going to make it a complete minefield if he decides to move on down. He doesn't know exactly where these players are, hoping someone's going to peek around as he gets rid of the shield, but 20 seconds remaining, and he hasn't got many options other than to push on forward. Just peeking down the corner, taking in some pre-fire shots, but it looks like it's probably not going to work out for him, and it doesn't. Triple lift securing that last kill, and Electrify get their first round.
And it all came down, in my opinion, once again, to that absolute kerfuffle that we saw just over halfway through the round. A crazy exchange of frags, and that's 2 rounds in a row where everything has just exploded. We've turned from a 5v5 to, like 2 players left or 1 player left on each side in a matter of seconds. And the triggering moment there was, of course, Ray got that aggressive pick onto Revy. Didn't quite see where Revy was playing when it was shut down. I assume just trying to push through blue. But the critical thing for me was Ed, as the Goyo, playing in what we call Harry Potter, directly underneath the stairs, completely unaddressed, on drones. That's a common spot, and you really need to drone that. You need to know whether there's a player there, because the Montaigne walked directly past, and Ed, a couple of easy shots in the back, dealt with Coldbro, and Scarz completely fell apart. So just minor things, I think, that are swaying this towards Electrify. I also would have liked to see a bit more of a diverse push from Scarz rather than all focusing on this one direction. If a single player was pushing from Freezer or Laundry, perhaps things would have worked a little bit better. Also, I was a bit surprised to see that the pillar shield was not actually dealt with until very late. It was when we saw that 1v3 from Nosferatu, when he finally actually destroyed that shield. Not only did that flush triple lift off the pillar, it also actually dealt a heck of a lot of damage to the Jaeger, who was playing on it, as it was a Vulcan shield, and that explosion took about 60 of his HP away. So I'd like to see Scarz just a bit more thorough, deal with some of those things in a bit more I don't know, what's the word here I'm looking for? Just be a bit more methodical. Don't get ahead of yourselves, because we're seeing like 5 or more players die on across both teams in the space of about 10 seconds. It doesn't need to be that way.
Yeah, it felt like they were going a lot for that whole idea of come in from a couple of different angles and catch them out, but in the process, they found themselves getting caught out as well. And obviously, Electrify are going to be heading up to the upstairs bomb site now instead. So it's a new chance for Scarz to prove that they won't get caught out and they can be more methodical as they start to send in their players. 11 is heading into the garage. But you know that you have these roamers from Electrify downstairs, notably here, Pikachu on Pulse, ready with the cardiac sensor and the C4 in hand.
Often this Dorm's defense comes down to breach denial on the closet wall, but doesn't seem to be a focus for Electrify at the moment. They may have impact grenades on Ray to try and impact trick through the fan, but yeah, indeed, the holes have been opened up. 11 at the moment just hunting roamers. Drones go out like locusts, swarming around, trying to find these players. There's the mute jammer dispatched with. Nice job there from 11. That Shaban not seeming to be impactful, but Pikachu's gotten a lot of information with that cardiac sensor. Also takes out a drone. He might actually be able to enable triple lift to flank.
This could be really useful if we can do it. And Triple Lift is nearby as he starts to peek into Classroom. He knows that player is in there. Is he going to be able to catch him out? Yep, straight onto the headshot. And he can just start to move upstairs. Now, obviously, he knows that there are a couple of players who have come in to Trophy. We had Nosferatu, who was in Armory. He's joined by Colbro in Trophy, as those smokes have been sent in and the games room wall has been open. But Demic, he comes around for his own flank and gets rid of Triple Lift. That means that threat is now removed for Scarz, and they can continue to push forward with their attack.
Critically, there's still some critical information gathering from Pikachu downstairs. Demic looks like the one to chase him, but he doesn't have info. Those drones that went out in abundance early in the round didn't spot out the pulse. That enabled Triple Lift, that early kill onto 11. Now, how much explosives do we have left for Scarz to deal with some of these shields and some of these positions? You can see Coldbro consistently pinging out this position. But, well, there's no more explosives left from Nosferatu. That's the second nade goes through. Revy doesn't have any more breaches at all, so it's going to have to be a desperate plant here, and Pikachu's still below to deny.
He's trying, but Demic's going to be getting work done. There's the C4 as Nosferatu goes down, and Colbro is going to be protecting the plant as Revy gets that done. Demic, once again, getting work done. Revy falling. There are still a couple of players from Electrify standing, so it's a 2 versus 2, and both players on Scarz are sitting at very low HP at this point. Desperately looking for what they can get, but it will be Ed winning that one out. Sino finishing things off, and Electrify take the round.
Great job there from Ed and Sino in the late round to salvage that one. I really like that positioning from Sino in particular, who vacated Games Room, hiding instead in the closet, just waiting. He knew time was on his side, and once he denied that plant, the Monty was trying desperately to cover, but of course Monty doesn't have a gun, so if the planter dies, Monty can't really effectively refrag that. Instead, the Monty is more so trying to body block any shots onto the planter. I would have preferred to see the Montaigne actually plant because, well, that player who was instead planting would have had a gun up and been able to trade out that kill at least. But instead, no, Electrify actually hold out in the latter parts of that round. And the thing that surprised me, I guess, is also the fact that pulse downstairs, Pikachu wasn't actually impactful in the plant at the end, thanks to Scarz electing to plant on the concrete patch within dorms, which was a smart move from them. They weren't vulnerable to C4s or shots through the floor below. But, of course, Ed and Sino to step up really well in the late rounds. And the common trend here I'm feeling is that Monty just does not seem to be helping out Scarz. Colbro yet to find a frag, and honestly, yet to find an impact. Of course, on Monty, fragging isn't the name of the game. It's about what kind of positions can you gain, what kind of pressure can you put onto the defenders, can you enable a plant, and I haven't seen any of that whatsoever. So I'm glad he switched over now onto the Capital.
Yeah, I think this could work way more in their favor at being able to flush out some of the members of Electrify and force their positioning into places that Scarz can take advantage of, because I think that's been a really big problem for them so far, is they try and put themselves into attacking positions where they can take advantage of the defenders, but they themselves are being caught out in the process as well. So I think if they have more of an influence on where the defenders are positioned without having to compromise themselves, that could work out much better in their endeavor together, especially on a site like this where there are very key areas that you want to be taking control of. For example, showers, or even maybe showers corridor, or upstairs, wherever it may be. The point is there are areas that are very key to take control of here, and if they can do it, that should give them a big advantage.
Nice that ping spotted out the Evil Eye. Nosferatu should be able to deal with that. I hope the Evil Eye was dispatched with. Whoop, nope, still there. That's a shame. Maybe a bit too overzealous there from Nosferatu. Didn't want to expose himself, so tried to go for a long shot rather than hitting it direct on, and I think that punished him. Now we're going to see more util used. Finally, Evil Eye is dispatched with, but a bit of wasted utility. And keep in mind here, we've got the 2 Vulcan shields, likely a shield on Ed. There you go indeed, plus those Evil Eyes. And, well, Scarz need to be really careful now with their util usage of these explosions to make sure they can deal with all that.
It needs to be economic, but at the very least, it means that Revy can have the opportunity to begin to open up the dining room wall. This is where you see Ray pushing forward to get quite aggressive. He's trying to take his old positioning back. Doesn't look like he's actually shielded by, well, a shield, I suppose, but he knows that all of the members of Scarz are out there, and if he can get the shot through the angle, that could be huge, and the showers wall begins to get opened, I guess, and it's going to be Ray getting the first kill, but he's straight away dispatched with as the room just fills with flames.
An unsuccessful impact trick forced Ray into an aggressive play. Well, it did work out for the 1 kill, as you said, it was traded. Nosferatu had already used at least some of that util. Triple lift for the run out now, but no one's outside the White Stairs window. And his position revealed on that run out. A couple of fires to go through. I think that was the Capital, not the Vulcan shield. And Coldbro uses that to push up and take Shower's control for himself. 4v4, but Scarz, they have some time to make this work. The next few moments, they were critical.
Absolutely right, especially as you had those members out in the corridor, but Coldbro, he's going to say goodbye to both of them with a nice handy 2k. That's instrumental in allowing Scarz to gain control, and they'll just begin work with the plant as Coldbro gets a third. Can he jump down? He gets traded out, but Triple Lift doesn't live to tell the tale. Scarz finally put a second round on the board, looking so much more in control than before.
I'm pretty sure, was that a 4K from Coldbro? He gets off the Monty, not only finds his first kill of the game, but finds 4 of them. Hugely impactful, particularly that swing out of Showers. Really, really nice stuff there. And it started with that Showers take, of course. We saw Scarz use that the ace, Revy to breach, open that Showers wall, forced Ray into an aggressive position. While he did take down Nosferatu, the trade came through from Coldbro. Coldbro used his firebolts to enable himself to take Showers, and then from there actually swung, found 2 more, and continued that aggression. Never let up, kept taking the ground, didn't forfeit anything, pushed into security, found another, and that enabled Scarz to get that plant down. Lovely stuff. And, well, what I will say, though, for Electrify as a redeeming factor, that was their tertiary bomb site. They shouldn't sweat too much about losing it. Move back to Laundry and see if they can get the hole-in-one this time.
Yeah, and interestingly, obviously, Scarz have decided to continue on with the Capital strategy and have given up on the Monty entirely. So despite the fact that this was Electrify's primary bomb site, and they did win it the second time that they came here to defend it, Scarz bringing something different now could change the story for how it goes. So you mentioned that Electrify shouldn't have to sweat too much, but they should also be expecting the shield to not be brought.
Well, I do think that a lack of a shield will be a help here. Scarz, I think, tunnel visioned a little bit too much because of it. I'm interested to see whether they actually change their strategy. And hopefully they use a bit more drones this time. If you recall, the previous attack onto this bomb site was primarily thwarted thanks to Ed, who was just playing in Harry Potter. He found 2 kills. But for now, Triple Lift in an aggressive position, but a safe one. On the stairs. Oh, trying to find those drones. Pikachu so aggressive in Blue Bunker. Decides to fall back. Scarz have struggled somewhat taking control of Blue Bunker, and Electrify investing so many resources and players into that direction. Look at all these players from Scarz stacked up, so it's full frontal head-on for both these teams.
Having to dispatch with the Malusi Wub before they can even have a hope of moving on in, but you have to bear in mind that Triple Lift is also off-site, so anybody who comes in through the tower could find themselves getting caught out by him, and that's why this droning is going to be really key. as Scarz begin to move in. It looks like Demic is aware of that as the rest of the team still try to push in through blue. Demic was so close to triple lift there. He just wants to make sure everything's safe. He saw him. Now he's just got to get ready to get the shot.
Triple lift retreats back to site, but he's wasted some time, even if he didn't take out those drones. And now Electrify fortify their positions. Ed once again aggressive at the bottom of the main stairs. Now Scarz, we just need to see good droning and pushing on the back of him. That Banshee from Malusi dispatched with, and well, this has actually been really good drone economy for Scarz. They've only lost 3 thus far, 4 make that, but critically Revy's actually completely out of drones here, and in a support position, typically the one you would hope to be using their drones and enabling this. Nice Capital fight to try and flush out the pillar position, but Ray is still alive.
Oh no! Team kill definitely not going to help with Scarz's chances now, as they just have to begin to push in because they still haven't fully cleared things out. Nosferatu kicks things off, but once again, it's a constant back and forth between these two teams.
God.
The blue and the orange filling the kill feed as only Demic remains. He's cooking one of those grenades just to throw it into the other end of pillar, but it doesn't look like it gets anyone just yet. You can hear the ADS being burned. All he could try to do was move on forward, but Pikachu, he was ready and waiting. A great victory there for Electrify.
My God, Gio, I'm getting a headache watching these downstairs attacks from Scarz because everything happens in the span of about 5 seconds. Literally, that is the 3rd time that there has been a, I guess you could, we don't usually use this terminology in Rainbow Six, but there was a team fight because literally every player on both teams was involved in this fight.
Yeah, what game are we casting again?
And forth. Yeah, I don't know, but it sometimes it doesn't feel like Rainbow Six. There was a, no joke, team fights 3 times so far on that basement objective, which left only 1 player on one of these teams remaining. Sometimes both of these teams only had 1 player left. In that case, it was Scarz in a 1v3. Of course, it didn't help that Revy opened things up with a team kill. I think I might have jinxed him after that strong first round. But Electrify got to be pretty happy with that. That said, we would probably expect a defensive side of Oregon here, and we've praised Scarz for their attacks in the past on this map, most recently against Talon. So Electrify still have some work to do here. If they can end this half 4-2, I'd say that's a victory. Anything less is merely acceptable.
One thing I am concerned about with regards to Scarz is when these two teams have played together before, it's been very clear that Scarz's strength has been on the attack, with a lot more of an inconsistent defense. And some of that, especially when we're looking back to their game on Clubhouse they played at the beginning of Stage 1, Phase 1, could be attributed to Yas, who is no longer on the team, who had a lot more of an inconsistent playstyle. But the point still stands is what has always been a strength for Scarz is now somewhat looking like a weakness. And it makes you wonder and potentially worry what's going to happen in the next half.
11 looking to push in from downstairs, yet to find a kill this game, and that's a far cry from the 11 that we've been talking about so far in Stage 2. I'll bring up the stats right now. 11's actually been performing high above expectations in Stage 2. Thus far, top of his team, +7 overall KD. Not outstanding in the larger scale of Stage 2, but definitely had a lot of very strong impact players for Scarz themselves, and has been the most consistent player on their team. Definitely not the case this game. At the moment, just hunting roamers. But Pikachu has evaded all the way to office.
Yeah, and I find it really interesting as well because the way that 11 was positioned looked like he was ready for someone to come from Freezer. I'm not sure. He looks like he's expecting someone to be in security right now, which is relatively common, especially if you have a C4 player down there. Sometimes we see a Valkyrie. We've obviously got a Pulse on the defending side. As you say, he's run away and sought refuge in office. That does mean if he stays up there, he could catch someone out if they go onto big window, but it looks like he's moving down and could potentially catch 11 out on his journey.
The real struggle here is 11's just got no info. 2 drones, 1 actually still in the pocket, but his teammates aren't droning for him ahead. I wonder what's the intention here? Is he just trying to find this kill? Because typically roam clearing has a purpose, right? You're roam clearing to deny C4s from below or to take a certain piece of ground, but I feel like 11's just trying to find this kill on the Pikachu.
I mean, I guess you have to remember that last time they came to this site, there was a denial with a C4, but that came from Ed, and Ed's playing on the mute upstairs. So I don't know. I guess that's what they're doing. He just wants to get rid of the pulse. Ooh, that was disgusting from Demic there. Obviously, he's been showing up so far in this game.
Yeah, Triple Lift also been a consistent player for Electrify. I don't know whether there was info there for Demic or it was just a common pre-fire, but either way, it's a nice way to kick things off. Burning the ADSs or checking for ADSs is cold, bro. This Dockerby, not something we've seen thus far, abandoning the Capitale. Actually not electing to bring smokes, but we still have those two in the pocket for Revy, should the Execute rely on those. But here comes the flank from Pikachu. That call, not a hindrance whatsoever. And Sino also takes down Revy with the gas. 15 seconds left, and Scarz are falling flat on their faces.
Cobra's had to pick up the diffuser, but he's even going to have the opportunity to put it down. He's the only one standing, and there's all these players on Electrify still here. The answer is no, he won't have an opportunity to put it down, as Electrify maintained control. And James, I have to say that so much of their downfall felt like it came from the fact that time was wasted in the fact that 11 was just hunting Pikachu and never managed to get him.
Yeah, and Electrify have a really good side presence. So even though, like, let's say that Roma had died, yes, that would have enabled 11 to help support the rest of his team on the Execute, but Electrify's anchors did their job. Messino in particular, who's that new player on that team, I might add, pulled their weight once again. Currently actually at the bottom of the scoreboard on the Electrify side, but I'll want to reiterate how impactful those kills have been. And I think a lot of those rounds where Sino's hasn't gotten any kills is because all the rest of the team has just stolen them before he gets the chance, right? And that particular round, it was a 3K on site. The first one was with the gas onto Revy, who I assume was to be the planter, and then a 2K to follow up. Great stuff from the anchors. You always need that rock on the site to prevent that Execute, slow it down, and be a hindrance onto that Execute and the attackers. But now for Scarz, they flip over to their defense, and I'm starting to get a little bit worried for them, Gio.
Yeah, me too. Like I said at the beginning of that last round, Scarz have always looked historically stronger on attack, especially against Electrify. So putting them forward onto the defense here, when you have players like Ray and Triple Lift who have been showing up for Electrify, should they be concerned of the potential aggression that could come in onto them? You know, they're bringing operators that you have to invest utility in to get rid of what they bring. For example, Goyo, for example, Mute. They're going to have to deal with the Roma of 11. But 11 is still sat on 0 kills right now. How effective is he going to be in that position?
Yeah, I'm feeling sorry for 11. Seems to be in a bit of a rut this game. Such a shame, because a player that Scarz have been relying on to make plays, and 11's definitely been playing in positions where trying to take gunfights, but lacking on information on that roam clear in particular, and now on the Vigil, really kind of hoping that he can get a 1v1. All right, I don't know what that was, Fat Finger. I think that just goes to show how off 11 is right now. Fat fingering the impact grenade key, desperately looking for these 1v1s. Triple Lift's though been on fire tonight, and he loses that. That's perfect for Scarz. They establish an early man advantage. 3
swift kills coming out from Scarz, who now maybe no longer should worry so much. Ray and Sino being the only 2 remaining on Electrify. Of course, you still have the Adrenal Surge available from Ray, sorry. Can be used, but there's still only 2 of them. You can't deny the power of a man advantage in this game. They've got so much time left as well.
Ray's just patiently holding this angle, waiting for 11 to make the move, but Scarz, they don't need to at the moment. Whoa, 11 tempts fate. You can see the intention here is very much to go for a roam. Those reinforcements on the meeting wall indicate that. Ray has this control in attic, but the Jaeger pushes forward. Ray finds the kill. Nosferatu goes down. Ray's lost a lot of HP in the meanwhile, though. It's just him and Sino to pick up the pieces in this 2 versus 4.
Knowing that he didn't kill 11 before does put some nerves on his shoulders, because it means he has to consistently watch this angle, though actually he's just decided to move down now. Not worrying so much about a potential flank that could come through, assuming that most people are going to be on the site. They've gone for the Adrenal Surge. He knows someone's behind him, but he can't get the kill. That leaves everything on Sino. He's just randomly shooting around, hoping for something, but it doesn't work. Scarz take another round, their first defensive round, and maybe there's still hope for them yet.
Yeah, it's nice to get your head like that, but I am still concerned for Scarz. We're going to go to a quick rehost, guys. I'm still concerned for Scarz because the fact that they won that round really came down to that just crazy 3 kills in the first minute of the round. We saw 3 1v1s. Admittedly, we only saw one of them. We saw Triple Lift get killed out by, it was 11 on the Vigil, roaming around dining. Nosferatu found Ed elsewhere, and another player got killed. Like, I don't know, what can you say about that? It's just 3 individual 1v1s happening on the roam. Maybe one of those was near site. That probably just happened because Electrify overextended a little bit. They didn't have their drones in front of their entries quite so much, and they weren't expecting aggression from the defense. Well, guess what? Now they will. So they're going to be more cautious. They're probably going to win those 1v1s in the entries if Scarz continues to play a little bit more gusto, bite off a little bit more than they could chew in terms of those opening roams and stuff. So I feel like it was nice that Scarz get 1 round out of it, but if you keep that consistent strategy, it's not going to work. So they need to show that they have depth on their defense.
I think that's very important. You mentioned how maybe Electrify's droning wasn't quite as thorough as it could have been. We did, of course, see 11 get rid of a couple of those drones right at the beginning, which I think gave him somewhat more impunity in those early stages. But despite that fact, I still think, as you so eloquently put it, he tempted fate a couple of instances. And I think it was almost lucky that he got the shot that he did. And I don't want to take that away from him, because obviously it was his first kill of the game and that should be celebrated. But I don't think that so far Scarz's roam has looked as solid as what we saw from Electrify. And a lot of the reason being is we saw what it was that Scarz invested into trying to deal with Electrify's roam, where they positioned their players, how they weren't being found. One big question that I really had about Scarz on round number 6 was when they sent 11 off to go and look for Pikachu, they used the logic bomb and it didn't help. You know, and it's like when you have things like that at your disposal and you're still struggling, that wasn't really the case in that last round, in round 7. Yes, Electrify lost the 1 versus 1, but they didn't struggle to find the roamer in the first place. And I think given the way that a lot of the gunfights have gone so far in this game, it suggests to me that there's nothing to say that 1 versus 1 is always going to go in the favor of Scarz. It's just not.
Yeah, I definitely think in particular in Scarz's attacks, they were lacking a bit of info. The logic bomb, as you said, didn't really make the difference. Talon, somewhat lacking info there in that attack. I mean, yes, there was an actual peek from, which player was it? It was the, can't remember which one it was. Whoever was playing the Zephyr / Triple Lift, peeking from small tower to dining. But like he just pre-aimed the angle. He clearly didn't have info. He wasn't pre-firing. He just lost a 1v1. Like, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think Scarz is necessarily going to slide all those their direction. If I bring this back a little bit and I look at Scarz's game against Talon, in which they won 7-4 just last week on this very map, I was predicting Talon for that game. I thought it was an upset that Scarz took it. I was very impressed by them, particularly on their attack, which they won 3 in a row in the latter half. Now we're on Scarz's defense. When they played against Talon on their defense of Oregon, they actually won 4 out of their 5 rounds. And if I have a look, it was very much like an anchor-centric setup on most of their defenses. They really leaned into the Cade. They didn't so much lean into like this roam game that we've seen them depicted just in that past round. And that breach was really what, you know, stilted out and made them struggle on their own attacks. So I do feel like Scarz, yes, there's some depth that they could lean into in more anchor-style strategies, but at the same time, it's a very different ban phase we're looking at here. Maverick is on the board. I don't know if that's making a difference, though, because Electrify even bringing the Maverick, it's a strange one for me. I'm a bit curious as to what's the go here for Scarz. They don't quite look to be the same as they did the other day. But I don't think I can pin that all on Revy, because I actually don't think it's Revy who's been the underperformer for Scarz. I think 11 and Nosferatu, 11 and Coldbro have been the ones that haven't quite looked in their element this game.
Yeah, and even then, I think that Coldbro has been trying to fit in this game especially, he's been trying to fit into this certain kind of support role, but Scarz have been trying to figure out what that support role should be. Obviously, he started off on the Monty, moved over to the Cap, and when they did their dining attack and he played Capital, great, he did his job. It worked. It allowed them to take control of Showers, allowed them to push in and get aggressive, and the respective members of the team who should be doing that got that job done. But I don't think it's been consistent in Scarz knowing and understanding what they should be doing with Coldbro.
Well, we'll see whether Coldbro can find more success now on defense. Of course, it is primarily the attack in which our concern came from. But now we move back on over to the defense of Scarz. They're trying Dorms now for the first time. A couple operator changes on the attacker's side. Ray still sticking that Finker. Still hasn't chosen the grenades, still electing that hard breach gadget. And it does make me a bit wondering, will Electrify have enough explosives to deal with this util that Scarz bringing to the table? We've got 1 shield on the smoke, 2 evil eyes from Maestro, and the 3 Malusi Banshees. It's quite a lot. You've only got 2 breaching rounds from Ash and 2 explosives from Zafir to deal with all that. Admittedly, and here's something that people don't often think about, I quite like the interaction that Ray could potentially engage with Finker. Actually counters the slowdown debuff of Malusi's Banshees. Yes, it'll still make noise, so you still know there's a player there, but it'll nullify that speed debuff and allow the attackers to walk at normal speed.
It's pretty good as well because it means you don't have to worry so much about what utility you're going to expend to deal with those if you can kind of bypass it in the moment. And then you can save some of that attacking utility to be used on something else. For, I don't know, for example, a shield, I guess, if you want to pick an example. But Scarz seem to be on some kind of decently heavy room. Nosferatu present in the kitchen with 11 in security as well. Now, obviously, with these 2 players from Electrify who are over on the west side of the map, they could catch them out if they drone them thoroughly enough and if Scarz can't get their route back to site quick enough.
I think the intention here with this roam is actually just to play below, not necessarily to retreat back to site. There's actually a Malusi Banshee in this hallway, just to the left of Triple Lift's crosshair. Of course, if Triple Lift tries to move on forward, he'll have multiple angles to contest with. That's a nice impact trick from Revy, but he's all out. And that ace charge should destroy the remainder of the wall. Cina's all out of util. But is that breach? I think you can still move through that breach. Pretty sure. La-da-da-da. Thank you, medics. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a crouch hold. Can't see, my feed's a bit compressed. But we'll see how Electrify move forward from here because they've elected not to clear out this vertical hold from Scarz. And that may well punish them in the late round, especially with players such as 11 downstairs with that C4. We also have Coldbro in a position to flank downstairs. Cino's draining out the bomb site, but may well be difficult for him to execute with so much potential plant denial and vertical control from Scarz.
It's going to be the first one to get a kill. That's straight onto Revy. So the Maestro has been gotten rid of. And now we're just seeing Ray start to move down into Attic. Demic had no idea he was there. And that's an example of moving past the Malusi Wub as Triple Lift picks up another kill for Electrify. Now with just Nosferatu and Coldbro remaining, make that just Nosferatu. He's still present downstairs. He can catch out 1 at the bottom of the white stairs, but he's got to move on up. And the plant is going down. He can't do anything about it. And Electrify take an attacking round.
Wow, when I was saying that the Finker can counter those Malusis, I never expected we would actually see that interaction, let alone see it be incredibly impactful in that round. But absolutely, in my mind, the thing that spelled death for Scarz was losing Demic, that critical smoke player. That's the kind of player that can slow down the attack to deny plant with the gas. He had such a strong position from Attic. He can deny an entry in through the breach on closet. He can also smoke through the wall to counter the default plant spot on the hard concrete from the trophy door. And the Finker of Ray allowed to completely sneak up, walk straight through that wub, doesn't even seem phased. Demic has absolutely no clue. So great utilization there of the Finker to counter that util from Scarz and completely pick apart their defense.
Obviously, you mentioned how you had the 2 players downstairs who were going to be playing there, perhaps prepared for a post-plant situation. One of them did have a C4, but they didn't even get far enough for them to need that. So I wonder if Scarz are going to change up how they approach that now, because evidently the defense wasn't strong enough to prevent what happened in the mid-round before they even had an opportunity to defend themselves in the late round, as we only had the one player remaining right at the end. So you can see some changes in what they've chosen as far as operators go, as Colbro's present on Legion, which I don't believe he was last time, but
No,
it does look like 11 is going back to what he was before. Go on.
I think Colbro switched from the Legion instead of that Valkyrie so that he's got the impacts. That's the only assumption I can think of. Yeah, I mean, Legion can be good in other ways, but I have a feeling that the idea is for the impacts, you've got more impacts to counter this this closet wall. Previously, Revy ran out, and there was still plenty of util from Electrify to open up that breach. But I think one of the critical ways that Scarz can counter these attacks from Electrify is actually that wall denial. They could lean into it more. Thatcher has been banned. Yes, Maverick is in, but Electrify is not bringing it. So wall denial actually could be quite powerful here. We're not even seeing a Mute or a Kaid or a Bandit that would have countered this singular hard breach gadget from Ray. But no, if they had used that, it would have made this much slower. They would have had to clear it vertically from below. But no, that's not the case. Scarz elected not to do that, and that gives that wall for free. But they are leaning into the impacts for the other side when it comes to that closet wall. 11, though, on the flank. You might actually find Ray while he's droning, but he sees him on the flank watch. Oh, a couple sprays through. Surely 11 gets scared off now.
Definitely, that's going to scare him back. And obviously, Electrify had a couple of drones present in meeting as well. So any time that he might be around that area of the map, that's going to be tainted. That's really troublesome for Scarz, because it means they don't have that advantage when it comes to taking the attic control. And I imagine that Demic is going to be a lot more diligent as well, given that he was caught out in that area of the map before. But he's actually not looking towards the attic wall, instead into dorms.
Was that closet wall breached successfully? I believe there's still one in the pocket for Ace. Yeah, that looks like a vaultable hole to me. Triple lift finds Nosferatu. Pretty early kill. Nice job on that vertical hold. I think that was a hole from down in flag or split into kitchen. That's Nosferatu taken out.
Electrify moved in quite aggressively last time. Obviously, once they had the breach open, they could come in from both sides, both attic and in through the closet. But also, we did see Pikachu basically yeet himself up the armory stairs last time. I do wonder if they've placed some goo mines there to prevent something like that from happening once again. But as time ticks down, we still have 9 players on the board. Make that 8 as Revy once again is brutally ripped from life. Triple Lift being the ones to secure that kill, as we have smokes from both sides coming out, and this time Demic prevents the attic push. That's control that the defenders have maintained that they weren't able to last time. A jump in through big window. What is this? Triple Lift just moves straight through and takes Colbro out, but he's traded. Xeno's going to go in for the plant anyway, but this time 2 players remain on the defending side, but they don't know where the plant is. Demic's just trying to see what he can get. He gets the player. It looks like maybe things could work out for them if they can bring down Ed, who's just trying to take in the free fire, but he gets 1! He doesn't get the second, and that gives Demic more than enough time to disable the diffuser. Oh, it looked close there.
Very back and forth. Scarz, by a narrow margin, take the rounds. And I have to credit the 2 players in that final clutch there for Scarz. They were hyper impactful. Both 11 on the Malusi, who flanked up those main stairs, was on the roam very early in the round, kind of teetering about, wasn't committing to one singular position, very much playing loosely, and clearly there wasn't enough flank watch utility or drones on the table for Scarz, so Malusi was able to flank up the main stairs. Late round, found, I believe, 2 kills from that position. The other 3 kills for Scarz were found by Demic, doing a great job, and it goes to show how impactful Demic on the smoke in particular, and in that position in attic or pig, that specific part of attic where under the drop, how impactful he can be if he's not taken out by the Finker. So overall, very close there for Scarz, but they just pull it over the line thanks to those 2 players stepping up.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
It is a bit too close for comfort. That's the problem that I have here, is It's great that Scarz is starting to get some more rounds on the board. Obviously, the gap between these two teams is narrowing. Electrify only have a 1-round lead. And both of these teams, before when they've played together, both the games that they've played here in APAC North have gone to overtime. So it's unsurprising that they are close in that respect. But I think these rounds that Scarz have won have not been as definitive as they would like, especially after making the roster changes that supposedly have brought them so much success and fortitude in this stage.
One of the things I've really liked in this particular round that we're seeing in terms of adaptations is 11 jumping on that Kaid. I think this is a great decision. Scarz have consistently elected not to bring a Maverick and also not to bring the Kali. And this Kaid on this basement objective is so powerful. There are so many good things you can do with it, in particular on this hatch right here. We also have a mute jammer on the wall and electrical. None of that's getting breached. Like, maybe you could chuck a nade on through to destroy that mute jammer, but you're definitely not getting that hatch. So this anchor strategy may work really well for Scarz. And if you recall, the previous time they won this bomb site, it was really just on the back of 3 1v1s that their roamers took, and that gave them the early advantage. And because of that, Electrify is going to be hyper vigilant on this roam clear. They're going to drone out the entire map. Now, there is one player roaming upstairs, but honestly, I think that Scarz have such a good site setup that that's what's going to make the difference for them.
Well, there's only one way of finding out, and Ed's deciding to take some early shots, not finding anything, but he can clear out some utility using the lifeline. That allows Pikachu to straight away move on in. He gets on a drone, but it's a good start. Obviously, getting through the door, we love to see it, as obviously some defensive teams like to hold very far forward and make it incredibly difficult for attackers to move through like that. Ray getting prepared to send in the firebolts to flush out anyone who might be around Pillar. And this is going to give Electrify a decent amount of control if they can find the kills they're looking for. He sees one player dart across in supply, but can't quite take it. But it does mean he can hold on to this long angle as 11 secures the first kill.
It's a great pick, long angle from inside Freezer. But Ray's taking this great control. Triple lift down, that's one of the key fraggers, and also some key frag grenades. So, you know, removing that mute jammer may enable a breach, but I don't think that's the idea here. Oh, finally, actually, there was an ace charge, a Selma already on that wall, and it finally detonates thanks to that mute being dealt with. But Nosferatu has such a strong position, there's no way Electrify can breach that wall thanks to the Electric Claw. And Nosferatu could deal some serious damage here. Ed, a very late rotation. Scarz are primed with really good positions, but I will credit Electrify. They have a lot of time to make this happen.
I'm wondering if Ed's going to look to come down the freezer stairs to remove 11 from the position that he is in, and that does look like what he's going to do as he's crouch walking down. 11 gets a second kill. He's going to have to dispatch with him quickly if he wants to give his team the opportunity they need, and he does it, but not before a C4 comes out from Demic, and once again, a constant backwards and forwards lead to another defending victory for Scarz.
A great round from Scarz to tie things off. 11 proving that he is out of that ruts, back on the anchor and doing some good work with it. 2 picks from that freezer position. Now we did follow, I believe it was Ed who was on that flank down freezer on the Zofia late round. I think that was a great decision from Electrify. And I think a bit of an oversight from Scarz not to be aware of that. But at the very least, it was traded out by Cold Bro as soon as Ed got that 1 kill. And in particular, I do think that it was 11's position in freezer that found 2 early picks. That was great. But also on top of that, the fact that Scarz had such a strong anchor setup, in particular with that wall denial from the Kaid, it just made it so difficult for Electrify to get an in onto that bomb site.
Absolutely, and now for the first time, we will be seeing Scarz move to their tertiary bomb site. So their pattern of choice has been kind of similar to what Electrify went for, waiting for their 5th round rather than their 4th to come to dining. It looks like Electrify are going to be running something very similar to what Scarz did when they were attacking, but Scarz's options for the defense here are actually rather different. They've obviously opted to bring a Legion once again, so you do have the 4 impact grenades rather than just the 2. Oh, actually make that 6 impact grenades rather than just the 4, because of course Melusi carries them as well. That means that there's a lot of opportunity. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Well,
I mean,
make that 5, I guess.
I was gonna say I like this, bringing lots of impact grenades so you can keep impact tricking that Shower's position, especially because Electrify are consistently only bringing one dedicated hard breacher. Ray every round has brought the secondary hard breach gadget on Capitao/Finker, but it's unlikely you'll probably use that on the Shower as well, just because of how exposed any player going from that touch distance hard breach would be. But yeah, already one impact grenade wasted, and also a shame that it took so much damage off of Revy. In particular, when it comes down to the Capitao's fireballs, Revy will be extra vulnerable. So let's see how this attack from Electrify shapes up. Very stock stand at the moment, taking control of Small Tower with the intention to flush out Showers and eventually execute in through Dining. Let's see what the strategy is for Scarz to hold on for Showers and how long they'll be able to do so.
There's the first attempt at an impact trip, and it looks like it was successful. Now Colbro, he's moving into Showers so he can get ready should another attempt happen.
This is really scary for Electrify. They are notoriously low on hard breach. Sino is really the only one that can realistically breach that Showers wall to flush out that position. And he only has 2 left. And keep in mind that typically you'd also want to use one on the main wall into Dining. Now, Ray could use his secondary hard breach gadget for either of those, but probably not going to work out. Colbro should be able to impact trick this. I believe that is successful. No, the breach actually goes off. That is so good. Colbro missed the impact trick, and now that is so perfect for Scarz, or rather for Electrify. They have that opening into Showers, but that doesn't mean the whole round. They didn't successfully open up Dining.
Frustrating position as well for Scarz because Revy was really held back by the crossfire that was being held between the Ash and the Ace. In goes a nade, and Colbro is going to be the first one to fall as Ed secures that kill onto him. These pings coming out. Ed knows exactly where these players are, and you can see the rotations occurring right now as Pikachu heads on upstairs, but actually Ed won't be successful in his endeavor. Revy managing to secure that kill onto him, but now the attackers have control upstairs as Cino's getting a 2k, jumping straight in. Denik had no idea that Pikachu was right there, and now just Nosferatu is standing. He's desperately roaming around upstairs, looking for what he can from the vertical angle, but it's going to be difficult. The diffuser needs to be collected by Electrify, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue for them to plant it with Nosferatu so far away. There's 3 players here of Electrify. He jumps down and it fails. Electrify take round 11.
A very, very nice attack there from Electrify, despite being incredibly short on hard breach. They got exactly what they needed to open and found a crazy amount of picks on the back of it. Great job from Pikachu upstairs to flank through. There was clearly a bit of an oversight from Scarz, not keeping much of an eye on that flank up through Kid's bedroom, which ended up being the critical moment for Pikachu to flank up top. Admittedly, he only found 1 kill and probably should have found more, but his teammates beat him to it. And that, of course, forced Nosferatu into an unenviable retake position in which he was just not going to clutch. That is Electrify match point here. And it'll be Scarz trying to force overtime.
I want to see that ballsiness come out from Pikachu again. Because the way he just jumped straight down, took advantage of the fact that no one from Scarz was prepared for him to be upstairs, worked so well for their ability to just come straight in and put Scarz in a position where there was only 1 player left. Now, obviously, some 6 picks have come out, and I think a really notable one is Triple Lift switching to Nomad, attempting to prevent the flanks that Scarz have tried to do so far on their defense.
Yeah, if you recall that previous defense successful from Scarz on this bomb site, a lot of it came down to 2 key players that I highlighted, one of which was Demic, who was playing a really strong anchor position in Attic, but also it was 11 who managed to flank up the armory stairs and find 2 picks. So I expect that the Nomad is to try and shut down 11 on those flanks. And also I do find it interesting that Ray has actually switched back onto the Finker instead of that Capitao. Now, if we recall, the time that Electrify successfully attacked this bomb site, one of the most critical plays, in my opinion, was Ray taking down Demic as an early pick when the execute came about, pushing through attic, and that's what I expected Ray to be doing once again, using his secondary hard breach on that wall into attic, and then following that up with a boost, pushing up through as the execute happens, and hopefully catching Demic off guard. That said, for Scarz, we have had a change in the operator lineup. Critically, we've got Coldbro onto the Kaid instead of the Valkyrie / Legion that he's played on this defense in the past, and that is actually interesting. He's using it to try and trick the wall of Closet, when I really would have liked to just see one put static on the attic wall, and that would have basically completely nullified Ray's secondary hard breach gadget. Oh, okay, there it is. Never mind. So I guess I'll wish for it, and then I'll get it. And now you can see Pikachu's trying to remove that from below.
It does, at the very least, waste more time than Electrify have in their reservoir. He did get rid of the electrical. We just watched it happen. Here's where the attempt at the trick should occur, but it looks like he was late. Yeah, he was looking in a different direction. He wasn't entirely ready for it.
The problem here is that the electric claws, you have to be really careful when you're trying to trick Ace, because Ace, you're never going to be able to trick the first pellet, like it detonates too fast, right? So that's not what you're trying to do. You're trying to trick the subsequent pellets. But the problem is the explosion from the first pellet will often destroy the claw unless you put it far away from the charge itself, the Selma. So that's the really critical thing there, and I think that was the mistake on Coldbro's part. He put it just in the middle of the wall, and that meant it was destroyed when the first explosion came out. And admittedly, it's very difficult to placate and cage trick Aces just because of how much damage that explosion does. Revy on the back of that's taken such an aggressive position and he's taken one kill with him as well. What is that?
Sino just doesn't give a damn. Pikachu neither, as he finishes Revy off. Now we have a 4 versus 3 situation with the Adrenal Surge. Attic control has been taken, and Electrify are just going to push on forward. Dispatching with the shield present in dorms. 11 gets that 1 kill before the smoke comes out, but he has to try and push forward. It's not enough. Electrify, who were on match point, secure themselves their 2nd win of the stage against the struggling Scarz.
A fantastic recomposure from Electrify after losing 2 of their attacks. They managed to finish that split at an even 3-3 on their attacking side, and that was exactly what they needed after a strong defensive half to pull themselves over that line. Recall that we had a rehost, so those are not the final kill standings. I want to credit
7 kills from Ed after a rehost.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts. Ed had some great entries. I also want to credit Ray, though. Great work with the Thinker. I love to see it, and I really think it had an impact in a lot of those dying moments, countering that Melusi. A lot of people are like, oh, you need lots of explosives if you want to counter Melusi, or you can just nullify the usage of her gadget. So I love to see that from him.
Yeah, work smarter, not harder. It was definitely an interesting game to watch. Both of these teams who've been struggling towards the bottom of the standings. Electrify proving this time that they were the victors. But analysts, I want to know what you think, so take us through it.
Thank you for the throw. I believe this is when Milos says my king.